Hey guys, welcome to the video and thanks for watching. In this video, we're kind of going to review the Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs vs. Peoria Rivermen weekend series. That series was split one apiece. Rivermen winning the first game 4-1 in a very physical matchup, and Dawgs winning in overtime 4-3 in a more competitive matchup. And both games were very entertaining throughout. Very physical, just good hockey overall, but unfortunately with that good hockey came bad officiating, and we'll get into that a little more. And again, I just want to reiterate, when I say bad officiating, that doesn't mean I'm blaming the refs or linesmen for Rivermen losing. It's not the refs or officials' fault that the Rivermen lost. That was a good goal in overtime. That beat them clean under the pad. The reason Rivermen are upset is because that entire weekend, that ref was indecisive. You could tell he was brand new at this, like a deer in the headlights, and at times just looked lost out there. I mean, even when he blew the whistle, it was extremely weak. Sometimes you could barely hear him blow the whistle. It was... It's like, dude, blow your whistle. If you're going to call it, blow your whistle. You can't even do that correctly. Like, it was just horrible. But anyways, we're going to kind of get into it a little bit. Like I said, that first game was physical pretty much from the get-go with Rivermen and Dawgs. Both teams came out hitting hard. A lot of scrums, a lot of the between the whistles, stuff, and it was entertaining. But you know, Rivermen lured the Dawgs right into their game and threw Dawgs off theirs, and it showed as that game kept going. Rivermen was able to frustrate the Dawgs and get under their skin, and really just dominate that game throughout, and it was just a great showing. Like I said, Trudell ended up getting into a fight with Tobias Odacek. It was a decent scrum. Trudell coming out on top. I don't think anybody can dispute that. But again, you know, it was one of those agreed upon bouts right off a face-off and in the Rivermen's offensive zone. And it's a good scrap all the way around. Alec Bear and Carlos Forneris for the Rivermen continue their great play. All the games that they played, and all 3 games that they've played, they've been buzzing around the entire rink, getting assists, getting goals. Alec Bear with 5 points, 3 goals. Carlos with 4 points and 2 goals. Again, these guys buzzing all over the arena, and the ones getting the Rivermen going. Even Carlos with his physical play as well. Not afraid to throw a hit, finishes his checks, and stands up for himself and teammates. I love to see that. I think you're going to see great numbers out of Carlos throughout the year and could possibly lead Rivermen in points. So I'm very excited for that. No suspensions in the matchup, even though there was some rough stuff and, game misconduct involved. Nick Ford got tossed for being third man in. About the only reason I can think he didn't get suspended is because I will say Nick Ford did not throw any punches, but that doesn't mean he wasn't the third man in. He was still the third man in. You don't have to throw punches to be the third man in. So that's the one time the ref actually got it correct and called third man, and that's an automatic game misconduct. I know what Nick Ford was doing. I'm not even saying I blame Nick Ford. Zach Wilkie was kind of ragdolling his teammate Tim Kent, kind of dragging him around the ice, and Nick Ford tried to pull Zach Wilkie off of him. Like I said, he really wasn't throwing punches at Zach, but he did hop on Zach's back and wouldn't get off of him and was trying to yank him off Tim Kent, and that's third man in. So the ref has to call that. So I'm not going to say anything about negative about Nick Ford jumping in there, and a suspension wasn't warranted. Some people thought Carlos Fernandez was going to get suspended because he laid a hit on a dog that wasn't wearing a helmet at the time, and everybody pretty much jumped him for doing that, and people thought he would be suspended for that hit, for like maybe intent to injure, which I think is kind of ridiculous. He wasn't. He just laid an everyday body check on the guy. He just wasn't wearing a helmet, and yeah, and so that's that. So I agree with no suspensions in the game. Just a good old-fashioned physical game that Rivermen won. Game 2 wasn't as physical, but still was physical, just more disciplined. More discipline from the Dawgs than the Rivermen. Again, Rivermen tried to pull them in deep waters with being physical and trying to throw them off their game, but Dawgs stuck to the game plan better than they did the first game, and Dawgs are getting better here. They was off to a rocky start, but they're getting better each game, developing chemistry. Like I said, Tim Kent's off to a great start. Matt Jansen's off to a pretty good start for him. Smirnoff, I think he's going to be a great fit for the Dawgs. He's a very physical player, but he's still looking to get on the score sheet as well. So, that's what happened. And as I touched on earlier, the officiating was horrible. And I'm not just saying that. I said that when the Rivermen won the game as well. I mean, and it's for both sides. It's some of the worst officiating I've seen in a long time. And I know that's been said a lot when it comes to SPHL officiating. But this was bad, guy. You could totally tell this guy was brand spanking new at reffing. He seemed very timid, not confident at all. Like I said, he seemed like a deer in the headlights most time. Very hesitant to make calls. And when he did make calls, they were at the wrong time and wrong type of calls that he wasn't getting right. Messed up goal calls. He was indecisive about calling good goals and taking them off. Like I said, it wasn't that we lost or blaming the officials that we lost. It's just those officials were pure garbage and an embarrassment is what they were. And that was the main issue. Again, not blaming the ref for losing, but you got to be honest about it. And that was just horrible. Just horrible officiating. So, even the linesmen. I seen them screw up a couple icing calls. I seen them screw up a few offside calls for both teams. I seen the Rivermen go offsides a time or two that wasn't called. And I also seen an offsides called on the Rivermen that was impossible. It was impossible to be offsides. Chase Spencer was in front of the blue line. You could actually see the white of the ice between the back of his skate and the blue line. That's how far out in front of the blue line he was. And he stopped a puck in his skates in front of the blue line, and the ref blew the whistle and called the play dead offside. The puck fully has to cross over the blue line to be offside. It was impossible, physically impossible, for that puck to fully cross the blue line. And he called offsides, and he was right on top of it. It's not like he had a bad angle or was behind the play. He was right on top of the play and blew it. Like, it was just atrocious out there from the whole crew. But like I said, I've seen good things from the Rivermen again. Not everything's put together, obviously. With the veteran core mixed with a lot of new faces, chemistry doesn't develop overnight. But the good news is the chemistry is developing quickly in this group. And they're getting better every game. I'm excited for the goalies we got. Colby Muse was great at net for us. Troy Coburn had great spots at net for us. So I'm excited for the future for the Rivermen and excited moving forward. And I think Dawgs will be okay too. Off to like I said, a rough start, but kind of the same deal. They're developing chemistry with the new guys there, and they're doing that at a rapid pace. So, you know, their records will improve over time, I'm sure. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go over each team. Instead of doing a breakdown of all the games that happened this weekend, I'm just going to kind of touch on all the teams briefly and where I got them ranked as of right now, the way they're playing, and who I got at number one. I promise you're not going to be able to guess who I got there. So join me for that video, and I'll catch you on the next one, and I always keep it Rivermen style.